All right, Manchester United 2, Everton 0. Crikey, can I even remember what happened here? 2 penalties wasn't it? Bruno scores the first penalty, Rashford the second one. I mean, first off, so I thought, and I said before the game, that I thought United in this game against Everton would kind of have the ball and dominate and try and produce, and it would be a game to see the midfield and the attackers doing their thing. They played counter-attack again, and it was good. Yeah. It worked really well. It kind of worked out what they wanted. Bruno dropped deep, and Garnacho and Rashford stayed high and got in behind a few times. It was a really good victory for a counter-attacking performance and a style and a strategy. Is that it then? Is that case closed, or is there more to talk about why United are doing that, or does it not matter at this point?
Oh no, it matters, because you can't do that against better teams. I mean, you look at Bournemouth, Fulham, both won at Old Trafford this season. Fulham won convincingly.
Yeah.
Fulham had a lot of chances in the game. Luton went there. Okay, they lost the game, but they caused
and they had
so
tons of the
problems.
ball and pushed United back.
But for United, I think it was 30 shots on goal Everton had. Not a lot on target, however, but a lot of shots on goal. It's too many. For a home team of a club like Manchester United, that is far too many opportunities to be given up. The money they've spent, why are you still playing as a counter-attacking team? Because the big thing for me is that it's not his way of playing at Ajax, and he said, I don't have the players to play this system. I think, well, why don't you go out and buy the players?
He's bought quite a lot of players now.
Yeah, exactly. So, something's not quite right at the club in terms of whether it's a trust in the manager or the manager's trust in the players and the way that they play. But you can get at Manchester United. We said it before the game, you thought they'd dominate the ball, and I just said, if I was Sean Dyche, I'd get after them and try and cause them problems. And they did it for the first 5 or 10 minutes, and you actually said, didn't you, when we were watching it, this will be typical United. 10 minutes in, they'll suddenly get a foothold in it, something will happen, and then they'll start to counter-attack.
Yeah. And but I thought they possessed more. I thought they controlled the game. They didn't.
You're playing counter-attacking team against a team who's 16th.
Yeah, they did it against Luton.
Yeah, incredible.
Just quickly on the United stuff that's happening right now. I think we all agree that the change of ownership, or the part ownership change with Sir Jim Ratcliffe, is a good thing, and I think the early moves and signs and sounds are pretty good. Of course, the big talking point is the manager, Erik ten Hag. Are you of the thought that let him continue, particularly if we finish 5th and there's 5 spots for the Champions League? It's going to be, kind of putting some, maybe some other stuff around this. It might be a difficult transition. It might be difficult next season or two as they sift through what they've got, try and get rid of some, try and bring others. He might be the guy to continue instead of making a change, Stephen, and having somebody else come in. It's like, wow, this is difficult. It isn't going well. We don't win the games because we haven't got the players, and we've sold him, we've got rid of him. Where are you with Ten Hag in the future?
I think it's going to be extremely difficult because I don't think he's the right man. I thought he was at the time, but I've been pretty disappointed, if I'm being honest. I thought last year Liverpool weren't great. I think they capitalised on that and got into the top 3, qualified for the Champions League. But this season, they've really struggled. And I look at Ten Hag and think, you've got to do more. There's got to be more from you. There's too many injuries at the club, whether that's behind the scenes or poor signings, and they haven't done the homework on the players. But the other side of things is if you go and get a new manager, now you're dealing with predominantly the same players, unless you can shift a few in and out. But they're under financial constraints as well, because they spent heavily since Ten Hag's come in. So there's big problems there. And the new manager comes in and goes, like you just said, I don't want half of these players. They're not good enough.
Yeah.
But there's a culture problem at Manchester United as well. The players, a lot of the players have been there for the last 5-6 years, and the culture's been bad and the results have been poor. And I think a new manager needs to come in and shift that. Now, it's going
to take time, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But I only look at Spurs and I look at their culture and where they were at. But get the right man in.
It's an amazing difference, isn't it?
I mean, the positivity he's brought in.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw the interview with Gary Lineker where he sat down with Postecoglou, and he said sort of talked about his relationship with players. I think we all think Postecoglou would be bouncing around the training ground. Hey mate, how are you? And what have you? And he'd been with everyone. He's like, no, I've got to keep a distance. And you think, wow, what man management that is, to be able to be liked by the players but keep your distance, be able to put a system on a team that is really impressive, but almost everyone knows you're the boss and you've got that authority.
Difficult.
But that's what's needed at United. Whereas I feel like there's almost an arrogance with Ten Hag in the way he comes across. I don't think it is that way. I don't think he is arrogant, but it seems that way when he talks.
It's going to be fascinating. Just a quick line on Everton. Again, we think they're good enough. We think that, of course, I'm sure the fans are worried about another points deduction. There's a little bit of cushion there between the bottom three right now. They're going to be okay, aren't they, Everton?
There's not enough goals in the team. That's the concern.
But they're expected.
Yeah, I know.
Their expected goals apparently they should have scored 13 more than they've got right now. Now, whether you like the XG thing or not, the basic saying is that they've created quite a lot and they should have scored 13 more.
It's incredible, isn't it? That is an incredible stat. However, how do you suddenly improve what you've got if they've been from the start of the season till we're in March now and they're still not clicking into gear in forward areas?
There's ways of doing it.
Yeah, there is.
In my opinion, there's ways of doing it, and Sean Dyche doesn't really go away from, I want my back four, I want my midfield four, and I got my little guy there, and I got my strike. Now, I just look at the team. He could totally play James Garner holding, Amadou is on the right side as number 8. Doucouré is a number 8. Have both those flying forward. Yeah. You could tell your wide players in O'Neill and Harrison to play a little higher. You could switch your fullbacks out and change Ben Grobby and have more of an attack-minded fullback. Mikalenko, ask him to play a little higher. There is ways of turning up the attacking dial.
Oh, 100%.
But of course, there's a risk that you can see goals doing that.
Yeah.
And Sean Dyche prefers not to take that risk with the thought that the goals will come.
Yeah.
And it's just whether it's better, whether it's Calvert-Lewin or McNeil or anybody else, they've got to start scoring the goals, haven't they, to get away from there.
It was fascinating listening to Gary O'Neill talk about Wolves and the lack of goals and where did the goals come from. And he said, we've got to get more players in the box.
Right.
But organised.
Things like that, simple things like that.
But organised off the back of it when it breaks down, how to then win the ball back quickly to make sure that those players in forward areas are then utilised and used in good areas.
Yeah.
That's good management. That's a brave manager as well. But however, Sean Dyche's record staying in the Premier League and being organised and the way he does things.
He's done well in a very difficult circumstances the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, it's just that, was it 11 games now without a win? That's a concern.
Yeah,
That's a real
really
concern.
Is, yeah.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. And for even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock. And be sure to tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend on USA Network and on Peacock. We will see you there.